All right. Hello. Gonna wait for some people to get in here today, like we did the previous time. But we'll be starting shortly. No Pullman today. Rest his soul in peace. He had to work or something. I see we have some chickens in this map. Okay, that's weird. I knew it wasn't crazy. Looks like you can sneak onto that. Probably wouldn't matter, but it's the same thing over here, though. Weird. Very strange stuff over here in the props. So this is Dozen by wazeecha. Now, wazeecha is a really cool name. But of course we have a room full of spinning chickens. Well, we had a room full of spinning chickens. Wait, grenades don't do it, but Molotovs will? Wacky, dude. Alright, well that's a... that's a real different kind of map. Who puts a do not enter sign on on the water closet or whatever the fuck that is, the janitor closet? What's up, Ikewear? Yeah, dude. This is a CSGO map made for a contest, and I spawned into a chicken area, dude. Not only did I spawn into a chicken area, if you walk over here... Oh, wait, all the chicken died forever. Can I reset the chicken with a button? Is there a chicken button somewhere? Why did they all die? Do I actually have to restart the game? Hold on. All right, we'll reload. That is worth showing off again. No, there are no flamethrowers in CS:GO, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would be something else. There we are. Here's the chicken room, boys. You know what this actually reminds me of is there's some StarCraft map in the remastered ladder where there's just like a Bengalos trapped into some critter trapped in a small box area, and it just perpetually spins. It's like I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but oh shit, we can run down here, and then presumably we can break this. America. Okay, so that's a weird way to get to the bomb site. All right. We're done horsing around here for the time being, I think. We can talk about the map. So like I said earlier, this is Dozen by wazeecha. We have this tantalizing view of outside. which is nice to get some natural light in here, but unfortunately we can't go there, which is weird because some of the spawns might be pointing us in that direction. I don't know. We spawn with 1 million chickens, and then there's 1 million more chickens in crates, which if you're so inclined like I was at the beginning here, you can throw Molotovs and burn them all. That's pretty funny. Got a couple of rooms that go back and forth here. All right, so let's go back to spawn and let's just take the most straightforward path to the bomb site. Doesn't appear that you can actually fall through here. It looks like this is meant to be the place where the eggs roll down and get sorted or something. Which explains the chickens. As if anything could explain the chickens. Wait, we're the Antifa model too, so you know the story behind this one. Must be that we're upset at, we are vegans or something. What's happening over here? Probably some inside joke. Or maybe this is actually meant to be normal. I see a document dated 1998, so... I've seen that Mag 7 one has been in a few maps now. Okay, so we got the wire guard, a classic. So the bomb site itself is fairly compact. The wire guard is a nice way to indicate roughly where the bomb site begins and ends, but this wire should probably move off and to the right or something to better indicate that, I guess. It's not really consistent. I'm not sure how I feel about the bomb site, though. There doesn't appear to be many post-plant situations you could be put into. Oh, you can press E on these to open them. Okay. That explains some more stuff. So it looks like they can be either way. But once opened, they can't be closed? Okay. Alright, so basically the CTs, who spawn right next to the bomb site, have to decide if they want to go outside or if they want to open up the... Oh, wait, we can go outside. Cool. Alright, so this is the T-spawn. You jump out the window, and you can go left to go outside, or you can go right to go to some sort of mid, which is obviously overlooking their spawn. You can break that window and then shoot them in the head. Okay. Pretty compact layout. Can't close any of the doors, it seems. Alright, so as a CT, if you were suspicious of them doing some wacky stuff and rushing down that egg thing, I'm almost certain you could make that jump. You just have to not be dumb like me. Obviously, you could just boost into it, which might end up being the default play anyway. Yeah, okay, so you can make this jump in pretty easily, and then you're in a really, really strong position because you can do this. Well, obviously, you have to break the window, right? So there's an audio cue. But you can also hear if they've broken the window, which will... That's not the only way that they can get into the middle area, but the other way in there is really roundabout. And the other benefit that this has is that if you need to rotate to the bomb site, you can do so from what would be an unsuspecting angle. And so I'm not actually sure what that means for the layout. I think it does mean that CTs probably have a highly superior position. Because one thing that probably doesn't happen very often, but you can break audio cue, you can make audio cues just so that you can give people like the wrong impression or something. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter in this case because I didn't even notice this door in here, but this door is the fast rotation in anyway, so you should be expecting CTs to be in there. So it doesn't really matter as much. Obviously, I can't eat this. Turns screen of enemy players white and interrupts AI script for several seconds. There was something that I came up with. I'll talk about probably in between this cast over or this commentary analysis and the next one. because you do bring up a point that is pretty funny, I think. One of the things that I'm kind of surprised about is how, like, spacious the map ends up feeling once you get out here, which is really nice. And it doesn't really feel like there's too many angles either. Like, there's not that much cover to play around. As a CT, to threaten a T's advance over here, you could, like, play around here with a Mag 7 or something, but then they could just jump up here and spot you. So at that point, you've got to be wary, and you probably don't want to play around over here. Maybe you want to play over here? Because then you can't be spotted. Oh, is this a epic? All right. So yeah, you can probably play around over here and wait for them to come down if you wanted to hold outside. And if then your teammate spots the other, or hears two of them or whatever, you can just quickly rotate over with no fear. I wonder if you can make it from here. Probably not, though. Ah, check that out. So there's two props you can make that jump from if you actually needed to. Hey! Okay, so we got some eggs. Wow, bulletproof eggs. Pretty cool. No idea where that one went. So, I don't mind it. I think this layout's growing on me. I was not expecting it to end up looking like this exactly. So while we can't... Oh, this is another really epic angle, actually, to hold as a CT. You can hold this angle, and if they come down, right, they would be... their head would probably be at, like, roughly this height or something. But you can also use this... I mean, I think you might be spotted from that angle, but you can use this to keep an angle. I guess it doesn't show. But you could use that to spam. This is another case where, by the way, fences really, I don't think, should block bullets. For some reason in CS they do, so I don't know if that's something that the mappers could work around. But I don't think that, like, this should count as a wall bang. If I shoot somebody through the fence, I don't think it should reduce the damage of my bullets or whatever. Seems a little weird. Seems a little goofy. I assume that's somewhat spammable. Well, I guess not, because there was still glass over there, but maybe it's spammable from one direction? Can wallbangs not break glass? That's weird. That doesn't seem right. Also, I don't know if this is... something seems unnatural about that ceiling. I don't know if it would make sense to just keep it raised the same height level the whole time, rather than do this weird lowering thing. I like that there's a lowering height level as you're coming out here, because it does allow you to adjust your sort of Z depending on if you want to strafe, like where you want to start your strafe, right? So I think that helps, but that's a very small thing. But raising the or lowering the ceiling isn't necessary, I don't think. Some hot wire. Oh, excellent. Nightbot destroyed that guy. See you later, dude. Have I played other FPS on Fraud Nights? No, I don't think we have. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure we haven't. Alright, so... I'm not really sure 100% what the purpose of some of this cover is on the right. I guess as a T, you could lurk out here. And so that's why it's there, to threaten a lurk that the CT, if he's pushing through outside, has to keep in mind. But aside from that, I mean, I guess that in that case it's fine, like it has a purpose, but it does feel a little bit weird. You wouldn't necessarily want to make this map any bigger than it already was, but maybe doing something basic like having another, like this, opened up so that you could take a quick right, but have some wall cover blocking line of sight or something, so that maybe the CT could theoretically like drop a smoke over here and then push up and take a different angle or something like that. I don't know. That's the only suggestion that I would have, because then this position becomes a little bit more valuable because you can guard this angle as well as this angle or something. So T's have a little bit more reason to go there under those circumstances. But I also understand keeping it more simple because, like I was saying, you don't really want to make this map any more spacious or and complex than it is necessarily. Or if you do, you've got to keep in mind that there's a drawback to that. Yeah, I think I'm not super crazy about the bomb site. I feel like maybe some more interesting spaces to plant would be cool. Maybe if it were bigger, perhaps. But I also don't know, like, what would post plants even look like? That's probably the weakest part of this map from a conceptual standpoint. Again, having just looked at it for the first time today, I'm not really seeing that many interesting bomb, like post plant scenarios, even with these doors openable, since the doors are a one-time thing. I would say, I definitely like the outside area, and I like the CT approach, and I even like the construction, even if I don't like the aesthetic of the interior over here. Like, I can see why, like, for example, there's this slope down here. I like the fact that there's that attention to detail from the mechanical, like, angle-taking perspectives. I guess there could be a bit more cover for firefights or something. Like, it doesn't feel... Like, one thing that's obvious here is this is a super exposed angle if the CTs end up pushing up over here and opening the door or something. I'm wondering if maybe the doors should be controlled from a switch. This is not something that has been done in CS history, really, in terms of, like, an accepted competitive map. But having another thing to fight over map control-wise might add some more value to one of these other positions where you fight over it, and then when you activate it, they open or close, depending. And maybe it's independent of the bomb site as well. So it could be something like something in mid, so that it's in somewhat neutral territory. Or you could even keep it in somewhat CT-oriented area. And then you always have to worry about that. So I feel like there's probably something you can do there to add a little bit of character to the map, but overall, I feel like it's a very solid outline, so. That was an interesting sound. All right. I think that'll do it. Oh yeah, and I forgot to unmute my fucking game audio, so now you can hear that. Sorry about that. Sorry for depriving you of the lovely AK sounds. Okay. So I don't have any more thoughts on this map, really. That was by wazeecha. Map is named Dozen. You can check it out. There will be a link in the YouTube VOD. We'll move on to the next one. Remember playing old CS back around 2002, 2003. Yeah, 1.6 is the thinking man's version of Counter-Strike. It's the best one, for sure. Or like 1.6 as a whole body. Not necessarily that exact version. You'd probably go look for like 1.3 or something. There were some goofy things that happened afterwards, but it's too hardcore for today's audience, generally speaking.
Let's go.
What's up, Coachy?
Let's go.
And yeah, since we were talking about, or since Icor, you mentioned earlier about flashbangs. You know, I was originally thinking back when I was working on Nemesis Chain. This is a StarCraft side tangent, so if you don't know anything about StarCraft, you're not going to understand this side tangent. But there was an idea that I had when I was working on the Nemesis version of To Chain the Beast, where there would be like a special UED unit that could disrupt Zerg control over things, and for AI as well as players, their units would essentially like almost turn hostile, but like to every unit, as if they were owned by some completely different player. And so I had some idea like that, but everything that I could think of felt really toxic to the player, like taking control away from them for units that they might have been controlling or whatever. It might work against AI since you don't have to worry about like abusing the AI in the same way. Like it doesn't annoy the AI in the same way, if you know what I mean. So I think that's probably fine for AI only. But then it feels like a gimmick because it doesn't happen to players. So I don't know. This is a map I'm definitely gonna have to turn God mode on because I have no guarantee. I have no faith in my ability to hit jumps every single time. Can I go all the way down here? Epic. Can I fall off to my death? Okay, yes. That's an answer that says yes. Oh shit! Screen shaking! Another her definition thing. Please get it out. Something's revving up, dude. I don't know what triggered that event exactly. Also not 100% sure what's up with this reflection here, but cool to see the planet Earth. I actually do unironically want to see the planet Earth from orbit. That'll be pretty cool. One day, guys, live streaming from space. Don't say Elsa. Okay, so this is Earth Local Standard Access by Cuddly. Apparently by one guy. Or gal. Or whatever. I like that despite the fact that despite that the fact is the map is in space and that we don't have helmets, there was a painstaking amount of effort, it appears, made to keep us from falling off of the edge like complete lunatics. That's a nice little touch, man. Okay, we can open this. I know Valve has zero interest in... Oh. Very weird. I know Valve has zero interest in space maps for whatever reason. I really like anything that plays around with some wacky shit is really cool for my money, so I'll take it, is all I'm saying. There's a couple of different ways around here. This looks like a vent, but it's not something that's interactable, so you can save your Half-Life simulators for later. You can open this door as well, and this is the bomb site. Warning, tampering with a gravity manipulator is a global offense. A global offense, you say? You mean to say it's globally offensive? So for the daredevils in us, you can make that jump. Just don't overshoot it like I did. Or undershoot it, I guess. Whoa! Okay, cool. I need to get a grasp of this layout for sure. Oh, you just got doors that open up into seemingly nowhere. Okay. Now, I was told by Pullman that there's a... Oh, this is reasonable. What is this? Just ready to execute me? Anyway, I was told by Pullman to beware a map that has low gravity as an option, but I don't imagine it's this. I mean, you would think it would be this map, but I don't see any obvious way to interact with it. So let's keep jumping around. Space monkeys. Oh, maybe it's this? No, this is just like a holdout area. Okay. Post-plant area. I did say earlier, it seems really wacky to be running around a space station shooting a fucking AK-47. Like, that is pretty goofy, but it's cool. Goofy in a cool way. I wonder how much of this stuff has collision. Like, surely you just walk right through that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I want to be able to scale. Like, there would be some really wacky cases, but I want to be able to stand right here with an op and hold a post plant. I mean, you wouldn't be able to hold a post plant, but maybe I can wall bang somebody. That would be banging. Really tap into this map's lunacy. All right, where's CT spawn? I found him for a second. Is it in here? Yeah. Okay. So CT spawn over here, and they can jump out over here and immediately see the bomb. So you could probably just do a really Pansy ass hold. What is this room? This room is the ladder room, which is right here. Okay. And then I like the verticality. I like the fact that there's like two or yeah, I think it's just 2 floors here, really. It doesn't look like we can come up here. I mean, it's a pathable area, but I don't see any way to actually get up here. So I'm going to assume that's just there for... oh, maybe not. Oh yeah, so here's the door that goes out to nowhere. And then what? How would you get over here? Would you get over here? I don't think so. Maybe you could run boost? That would be risky as fuck, though. Okay, so this door, does it only open from one direction? Okay, it only opens from one direction, apparently. Not sure if that's deliberate. And we can't shoot through or we can't break the window. So you might want to come up here and then, like, position yourself such that you can... Can you get to the... Well, it's really cramped. Okay, I can close the door from a range. So I might want to do something like this. And then shut the door. Seems like it's a little finicky. So this would be like the mid. The typical dual area, I feel like. But you have to watch out for the flank from the 3rd floor. And you've got your own 3rd floor as T's, which I have not really explored yet. Okay. So it's relatively even in that respect. And then there's this whole side room area. And you can jump in here and play. Honestly, the map is actually somewhat simple in terms of its raw layout. It's just that the number of angles, and since there's like a couple of different floors as well, that's what will get you on this map. That's what's going to confuse people, probably. Like, I can actually sit out here and shoot the guy who's peeking from that door that we were just in earlier when I was standing on top. This is a crazy angle in that respect. And you've got pretty decent cover. Like, I'm sure you can spam through this pretty easily. Right? But that's pretty, that's a pretty good fucking place to be sat cover-wise. And then you just make a single jump and you're up on the ladder. So you can go all the way up top pretty quickly as well. Or just to the mid. And then take a duel here. And completely isolate yourself from this position, I think. If you peek from far back enough anyway. I would say maybe some of the angles might need to be worked on, although this is just assumptions. Okay, so this door cannot be opened, it looks like. Or cannot be closed, rather. So that's what that is. This is how you would jump up here. You'd make that jump from down there. It's just that if you ever need to... So yeah, this is another angle where you can be. There's so many angles in this map, man. That's going to be crazy. So from this position alone, you've got to worry about that, that, and I think there's like 2 or 3 others that might be possible. Obviously, you could jump over here, and then there's some way up here. Yeah, so then there's another way up here. So really, there are no like dead to rights vantage points that you're always going to have complete access to, right? Yeah, so like I can look at this guy up top from this angle. Obviously, I can look at him from this angle in here. I can look at him from here. I can look at him from here. I mean, admittedly, the door covers it, right? So that's a smart decision. That's probably why it always opens that direction. So if I see the door, I can, you know, try to spray him through the door. And that's 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 5 angles or something. Have to contend with that unless they run all the way out. Whereas, like, obviously this one is a line of sight directly in, and then this one is a bit of a mixed bag, but mostly that, and then this one over here is obviously the most line of sight directly in. I can also do this. So this is a 6th angle. So 4 out of the 6 angles onto this spot as just an example can... And this is just what I found so far. Of course, I'm sure there's probably a couple of others. Like, you don't even have to reach onto this 3rd one, I guess. Like, you can just spawn, run up here, and then... with an op, this gives you even more power, right? Because you can actually see a crack over there. So that's something else to keep in mind. But I'm still counting that as one angled, just because it's in the same area. But yeah, so 4 out of 6 angles are... You have a really nice vantage point onto this guy. And then, like, the last 2, you have to spam him or you need an op for precision. Of course, I think it goes both ways, though. In terms of, like, this angle, I'm exposed to here. I don't think you can get over there, so we'll say here, obviously. Here. So that's 3 right there. There's a couple of spots in the bomb site that you're exposed to, but I would count that as a similar angle. So yeah, maybe actually that is a CT-specific thing, because... I guess I could theoretically see somebody from that angle, but I would be trained over here if I was down on this lower side, so I probably wouldn't even be exposing myself to that. Or maybe I would be, like, aggressively positioning myself to catch anybody who's over here. It's just that if I take, you know, too far of a wrong step, I will fall off, so I gotta keep that in mind as well. I don't know, I think the map is really cool. Lot of potential for mind games, for adaptation. Like, if you know the angles in the map and you see somebody get you from one angle, you can position yourself to counter that really well. So it will require a little bit of knowledge. But I think that there's been a... As much as people are probably going to say it's too open, there's not enough cover, there's too many angles, it's too vertical, whatever. I would say that most, like... Again, I think most people would be able to figure it out if they had to, if you know what I mean. Like, if... Like, there is a way. It's not like there's no counterplay, basically. I'll put it to you that way. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of this so far. I'm not sure about pacing and timings and all that. That's not something I can test without another man. But, I mean, I could. I would just take a long time and slow down the pace of the stream. But, post plants are another thing to discuss, I guess, before we move on. So, it's a very simple bomb site in terms of its geometry. I do think that post plants are pretty good for a couple of different reasons. I assume this is bangable, although this is cheating with an op, so... Yeah, so it looks like I could stand right here. Oh, there's a door in the way, too, so that's even... What if we plant over here, right? And then I position myself over here. I think that would do a number on somebody. So, yeah, I don't know. That could be big. What else? I guess you could plant the bomb and then run back and hold from here. Like, if it's... So, one of the things that you want to keep in mind when you're imagining post plants or whatever is what mind games can be played, as in what angles are possible to take onto the bomb. So, if the bomb's planted right here, I can go to... here, and, like, just swing, right? Especially if this door is... Oh, wait, can this door be shut? No, it can't. Okay. So I can go here and lurk here. So this has to be cleared, right? In theory, I could even be up here if I've managed to make it all the way over here. So you've got to clear this. You've got to worry about somebody peeking after a tap from over here. And that's a really difficult angle to clear as well. If you have one lurking... This might actually be the meta for this map. If you have one able to plant while the other lurks, there are going to be some vantage points that can see parts of the bomb. Like maybe over here, I want to say. Let's see what I can see. Maybe not. Yeah, it doesn't... Okay, it doesn't look like that's possible. Which I guess is smart. But still. It's pretty easy to imagine where some of this stuff would go. Anyway, I still think there's a lot of angles that you've got to clear no matter what. No matter where the bomb is planted. I guess like there's going to be some safe plants. Like usually a dichotomy of planting spots is like safe but not useful in a post plant. Like those that are usually correlated. The safer a bomb plant is to actually plant and place in a certain area, usually the less useful it is in the context of what would you call it? Like a post-plant scenario where you're trying to pre-fire or aim towards the bomb. In this case, I think you would still find some value in it because you'd be able to spam it through if you had ladder control. And this door can't be closed either, so... I mean, also you can do this and then hold from outside. This is another angle that you're gonna have to worry about. Oh shit, as a matter of fact... Yeah, I could just hold this from spawn if I wanted to. The fuck was that anyway? Oh, that's just aliasing. So yeah, I could do this and hold it from spawn.
I'm planting the bomb.
So that's fine, I guess. Because you can just close this door. So if you have control enough to do that, you can just close the door and they're fucked. Right? Can this door be naded off? It doesn't look like it, but I also fucked up my grenade. Okay. Doesn't look like it can be destroyed. So we'll say that's fine then. I can't climb through this window. Very sad. I think it's because this top of this clips it over or something. Alright, yeah, so that was Earth Local Standard Access by Cuddly. Check it out. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's got a lot going on. Certainly will be confusing to a lot of people. But it looks like a really fun map, honestly. So obviously, not an easy map necessarily to learn, but still pretty cool nonetheless. All right, what's next? We got Canyon by DaanR. I wonder why so many people are writing the map names as DE, even if it's Wingman. Maybe that's actually how the Valve ones are, though. I don't know what the trends look like for that.
Let's go. This is it. We kill them, and then we go home. Let's go.
All right, so... Hey, look, it's iQuire. Check that out, dude. Grenades. Phoenix. Prop AK. That's obviously just going to be confusing and tantalizing for some people. But it is what it is. Alright, this map looks like it's relatively plain, so we might not be here for too long, but let's see what happens. I'll reserve my judgment for now. So this is, like I said earlier, Canyon by DaanR. DaanR. Check him out. So we're running towards the bomb site from spawn. Bomb site has a couple of different layers. Can't be placed on crates.
I'm planting the bomb.
Okay. I'm assuming this upper area can be attained somehow for post plants. Here's CT spawn. You guys have a pretty easy rotation over. That's a door texture. Holy shit. Oh, man. Alright, so we can open that. We can jump on this, but we have to remain crouched, so we're slow as fuck. Okay. This is an almost invisible ladder, but I knew it. I knew you'd be able to come up here. Huh. Well, visuals are definitely not this map's strong suit, but it looks like this is a... Can you get back up here? Doesn't look like that. That's the perfect size to demand two-man, or rather a single boost, single-man boost. So yeah, pretty simple layout it looks like. There's sort of like what we saw in Dozen. There's a bit of an outside presence in terms of the areas. And this is like a powerful flank position if you can get in. Question is, can you actually throw grenades in a way that will be impactful? That one probably would not be impactful. It looks like there's some grenade alley-oop spots over here, though. Although that landed all the way up here, so you're going to need to find some lineups. I wonder what the utility of this position is. You can't walk on the roofs, so... Oh, that was a little too high. And that one was apparently too low, even though it looks like it. So this one you can't throw them in? But this one you can. That seems weird. Seems like a bug. Wait. What is that? Okay. I feel like there's probably some lineup somewhere. That gives you a nice little pop flash. So that one goes over there. You come in here, have your buddy flash you in basically as you drop. So you drop, and you are probably pre-aiming this angle, and this angle, and this angle, right? So something like this. That's a lot of angles just to... You drop... I guess you'd try to hug this wall, so you'd isolate this, this, then that. From the flash. They could be pushed up further over here, and they could also be upper. Although if they are upper and you rush down here, the timing is such that it will take them a little bit. One of them could be back here. There seems to be a decent amount of cover. And there are some post-plant positions where you can plant the bomb and then be outside. It's just that there's almost nothing for you to do outside. I'm assuming by this point you've run dry on utility, so you probably aren't going to be able to smoke off some sort of approach like that and then be relatively safe out here in a post-plant scenario from anybody flanking if they knew where you were. I would say, yeah, this area right here probably needs something, even if it's just a bit of cover, but you could probably do even more than that. I also don't really see much of a reason to keep this locked off, because, I mean, for one, it looks like it's actually a gameplay area, right? Maybe at one point in time there was a boost up spot where you could op out of these windows or something. I'm not really sure what the negative aspect of that would be. I mean, I think there probably should be an entrance that's a little bit on the T's side, so that if they do take control of say they smoke, you know, that area off, and they flash somebody out of there. Well, again, I don't know if. Yeah, it looks like the. No, I just threw the flash in a stupid way. But say they flash you off this angle somehow. Hey, that worked. That actually is still useful. You can flash somebody off from CT. But if you take control like that, and then you can come into maybe an entrance over here to wrap around, it gives both teams something else a bit more to fight for. So it's maybe something to experiment with. It looks like that was already tried based on the fact that that whole area is still pathable, which usually is not the case unless it was at some point in an actual gameplay space. So, let's see. What else do we have here? So this door is not closable. This door is. I would say maybe it feels a little weird to only have one way up to this area. Like, I don't even think you can boost up into this area unless you boost onto this crate. Yeah, this crate is boostable for sure. So you could boost up onto the crate from the T perspective. But even just as CT, only having one way in and then having it be such a long rotation. Maybe this is a response to it being powerful in playtesting or something, so that could be part of it. But I almost feel like there's too much empty space in this map in general, where, in theory, like, you could connect some of this stuff. Like, if this was a window, then, for one, right, that negates some of the power afforded to the position because you can't cross to a more aggressive angle safely. You will be spotted as a CT. For another, that lets you jump out onto this box, which gives this box a bit more playtime as well. Whereas, it's only going to be used in post plants, I think, because of the one and done nature of it. But if you were to boost your, jump from a window onto this, or get boosted up there or whatever, you could then jump back over into the window and still be in play instead of just being a one and done position in theory. I'm sure some of the suggestions that I have are not going to land necessarily, but another thing this is something I feel like is more common than you might expect. You've got a background over here that seems more visually and thematically interesting than what we're actually playing in. Like, what we're actually playing in seems like some storage facility or barn or something. Right? I don't know. I don't have any, like, intrinsic importance to that area. Whereas over here we've got, like, a bridge of some sort that you could turn into some really interesting gameplay stuff. You got a water tower, it looks like. You got whatever this building is. Does it have anything in it? No. You got... so that building could just be more of that, I suppose. But then you got, like, what appears to be the opening to a mine. You got a well. You got all that architecture that feels really unique in a way. And then you've got, compared to, you come over here and it's just this. Oh, you got a bucket. That's cool, I guess. So yeah, I think visually and thematically it's underwhelming. It is functional as far as the layout goes, but could definitely use some more as well. So I know it's not a whole lot. Some things are hard to see, like the lighting makes it really hard to see this ladder. Obviously the door, just from an objective visual standard, it's not very high in terms of quality. And the number of pathways that the players have to take feel a little weird. Like from a CT, I can either go left, a lot of lefts, and then hold the main approach, or I can just hold from back of sight a bit more passively, where I can still see the main approach, so it's not like they can threaten me from this whole right side. And my buddy can go hold from over here to see outside if they're pushing outside, right? Like, the one layer of complexity is that if I'm holding outside, like far outside, the T's could sneak up through here and come in through this angle right here, right? And then in theory they would have the ability to surprise whoever's over here. But basically, I don't see it. Like, there's not really any utility at all to this position because the T's are not able to access it without showing themselves to the CTs in the first place. So the CTs never have to worry about that angle. Whereas the exact opposite is at play over here, where I can hold this, but I can't isolate this without exposing myself to that. So this left side staircase, or whatever this is, that's one thing. But the right side is hidden as long as I'm trained on this. And that's good because it means that I can't, every now and then I might want to do a wide peek, or I might want to, use some utility to smoke that side off. Or more likely, I would smoke the staircase off, although that's a bad staircase smoke because I would be visible if somebody boosted over it or whatever. But then I can, play out here more aggro, in theory. Or, I guess more likely, I could just hold from in here, but there's not a whole lot of cover, right? So I could do some sort of off angle to try to get a kill over here, while my buddy holds outside from deep, like the back hall area or whatever. So yeah, I can already see that this map would be much more solvable than it probably should be, even for a wingman map, because of the layout being so limited in that respect. Limiting in terms of how it limits the player's decision making. I also think you could make this area more interesting just by having some of these boxes have fallen over, and suddenly there's a bit of cover to play from over here, from both sides. Maybe you could even make it like T-oriented cover by having like a box come out over here maybe, or something like that. You could play around with the architecture basically to make it so that there's more complexity with the angles. And I think you could also play around with height a little bit more. I like the staircase height stuff, but there should probably be a bit more of that in general. Maybe not to the same extent or same thematic as a staircase, but something that allows you to play around with height a bit more. When it comes to the actual gameplay areas that are going to be most commonly used. So that's my feedback for this map. Up next, we got Elysion. Elysion by big_SG21.
Let's get in and out. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go.
It feels like my, you know, when you spawn in and you have that filter over your face during the freeze time. It feels like that hasn't gone away. It's like there's a saturation loss on everything. Dude, that's really uncanny. I don't know if that's intentional, but that is unsettling. All right, so let's jump around here. Again, this is Elysion by big_SG21. It's a very, very sepia-toned map, dude. Ah, finally, there's some color. Holy shit. That's what I like to see. Okay, let's take a look at this layout. It's a seemingly a spacious map. I like that there's an outside, not just because of the color, but also because I feel like it adds a nice contrast. And another, obviously, this map looks like a little bit more, what do you call it? When it comes to angles, it looks a bit more complex, I guess. Knife-proof glass. A classic. Yeah, the fact that there's almost no color at all definitely is a bit unsettling here. I assume you'd die if you fall down there. I don't really have anything against having these platforming sections. But this is a long hallway with very little cover, it looks like, so this is something you would definitely want to use a smoke for.
I'm laying down some smoke.
Actually, you'd probably not even want to do that. You'd probably want to do something like...
I'm throwing smoke.
Oops. Can you throw smoke? That's not going to do that.
Throwing smoke.
Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, you'd want to smoke something like this. A little bit to the right.
Smoke.
Oof. So that's not good enough. So yeah, the lineup is probably very particular. Anyway. T-spawn. You come in and take a right over here. Then it leads you to mid, which requires you to either go outside, where the color is, or remain inside. There's a bit of ice rain going on, I'm not gonna lie. And this is the bomb site.
I'm setting the bomb.
Must not be on the stairs. So these actually mean a bit more than you might expect, because these will absorb any body shots that go low from a spray. They're not going to absorb it completely, obviously, but might be something to keep in mind. Build things differently around here. I wonder if this was at one point playable area. Probably not. Alright, so it looks like the main dual spots you're going to see is CTs are going to run out here. I want to take a fight over here. They do have some room to play around because of this pillar, which is very well placed. Because that means that they can play a little bit closer. Or they can come over here, take shots over here, and then try to fall back if they want to. Or they can do what any good CT would do and drop a smoke. Obviously wait for it to bloom and then run behind cover to some other position if they were worried about it. And then they can use that to take a position in the bathroom. Imagine shooting a man in a bathroom. So yeah, that could be fine. I don't know of any bathroom that looks like that, by the way. But it's pretty epic. That's fine. I still condone it. It's one of those what do you call it? Those mixed bathrooms. I forget what they're called, but the new age ones where they integrate it. I think integrated bathrooms or something. I don't know. Yeah, the brightness is actually fine outside. But yeah, I made the observation earlier, like it's fucking wild inside. You get almost no colors. Somehow, it feels like it's super desaturated. I think it's just the gray or white tone or whatever. Holy moly. This is... Maybe this guy works in an office building and he wanted to make it faithful. I would believe that something like this exists in real life, where they somehow managed to suck out the fucking saturation. Anyway, cover seems appropriate. I'm not really a big fan of the fact that there's almost no verticality, but there are enough passageways so that you can at least still do things. It's just that you can't really affect one side of the map from the other, or from, you know, one height level from another. The most you can ask for, or the most that you can do, is maybe some boosts now and then. But, like, this whole area feels like you should be able to walk on it, which I know probably seems absurd to request. But, like, maybe even a ladder over here, something that the... or maybe something that could be, like, outside control. Like, there could be an outside access way to the upper floor that's in somewhat neutral territory from a timing perspective. That could give outside another reason to exist in terms of what people might want to be running out for. But I think there's some possibilities there. I think that could be pretty cool. Any sort of overlook that you could provide, any sort of balcony. As it stands, I think it would be a fine rushing Wigman map. You know, there's plenty of things to keep in mind. I'm not sure what slow pace would look like. It would probably be very utility specific. We haven't really talked much about utility options or anything like that in the previous maps that we've taken a look at so far today. But I feel like that could be a component. Like I was saying earlier, you want to toss a nade over here and use it to isolate some duels. Maybe toss the smoke in such a position and then get in a position with a shotgun or something. Could be epic. You just have to watch your back after a certain point. There are no sound cues you have to give off to get into any positions. No broken glass and no doors that must be opened or anything like that. Which is, I guess, fine, but something else that might be useful if there's a position that feels potentially overpowered. Part of that can be attenuated by mandating some sort of audio cue. So yeah, I think that's... I mean, it's a solid map, but there's not really that much to say at the end of the day, besides the fact that the saturation seems off. There's a couple of things that you can elevate your Z on when you're trying to take aim duels, which is cool, but there's nothing really to elevate your Z more. Like, there's not really any verticality, I guess. And those positions for elevating your Z do seem a bit more localized to outside of the bomb site. Like, once you get to the bomb site, the only thing you can elevate your Z on are these couches. I'm assuming you can't jump on this. Oh yeah, you can, actually. I don't know if this is intentional. I kind of want to see if I can jump on the giant N over here, but I'm assuming not. So yeah, you can jump on this, I guess. It's obviously a one and done thing. I'm not sure if you could boost up onto this. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, there's some stuff like that around contact points that you can elevate yourself on, but... And obviously there's this area, which is elevated. It's just T-spawn or whatever. Which you can use to your advantage. This is probably the single area of actual verticality in the map, which is pretty cool. And, like, that one area is pretty cool. So, yeah. Solid map. Fundamentally seems alright. Certainly could be better with more, or rather, I'll say it could be more interesting with more opportunities to move around. Excuse me, move around and have decision-making matter a bit more. Oh. Just want to see what that looks like from the T's perspective. Yeah, if they're coming out, they can take this angle, right? But otherwise, they're just gonna like pre-fire into the door, basically. All right, so I think that'll do it for this map. Bit wacky. The next map is Underground by SpeedyQuack and JViation.
Wish they'll have never. These fellas are gonna regret we move it.
Oh wait.
Let's go kick some butt.
Ah, proper saturation. You! No, you want one. Imagine having a new cheeseburger recipe. Now this is a wingman map for sure. Very cramped. And lots of movement space. Okay. CTs come out here. Again, this is by SpeedyQuack and JViation. It's called Underground. You're jumping around. Let's take it from the top. We got T-spawn over here. Very cramped T-spawn, mind you. And instantly there's a fight that you can happen over here. So this is like Italy. You come out here and you want to molly that. Almost certainly. Well, maybe not that deep, but... Oh. Pranked, I guess. Well, while you're in position, I mean... So, you want to molly this, or smoke it or something. I guess it's also like Dust 2, right? Like, if you imagine. I've got an op! See if they cross. So yeah, you definitely want that covered by a utility. Hey, don't touch the third rail, dude. Wow. That's a clever way to break my fucking immersion. Alright, so we come out as T's. We can hold left to ignore that fight entirely. Very compact. Where is the bomb site? This is the bomb site, apparently? Oh, it has to be on this. Interesting. So you can't plant it down here. You must jump up to plant. Okay, I can get behind that. You got this position to clear out. Further back to clear out. If you wanted to hold towards spawn. Dude, this is a really compact map. This is like probably one of the smallest maps that we've looked at so far. But it's got a fair bit of stuff going on with it. Okay, so I'm a CT, bomb's planted, I look over here and I can instantly take a fight in theory. Depending on where they've fallen back to. Man, you can clear out a lot of this stuff with like one Molotov, I feel like. You can clear out the whole bomb bed with one Molotov. How safe of a position can you throw it from? Pretty safe, I think. So utility is probably going to be godlike on this map. Oh, you can walk up here as well. Where does this lead? It doesn't look like it leads anywhere. But you can stand up here, so... The question is... I thought for a second I could plant it on that crate as well. The question is... Alright, I will say this map is very visually cluttered and messy. And that probably contributes to the feeling of claustrophobia, where there's just all sorts of shit all over the place. But I don't really know what you would do about that. Oh man, there's so much stuff that you can do at the beginning of this map, where you can just like boost up here and throw a Molotov. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to spot people who are jumping up there.
I'm throwing a grenade.
I don't mind that you have to plant on this thing, but the fact that you can clear most of it out with one Molotov, if not all of it, and the fact that you can clear Like, you can just coordinate grenades. Utility will just destroy this map if you don't pick off at least one of the CTs before you plant. If they know what they're doing anyway, which is a bit of a concern. But that's assuming they're both in a position, I guess. So maybe I'm overblowing the significance of it. That's very ugly to look at. Giant plume of black smoke. Alright, so I'm a CT. What do I want to do here to cross? Do I want to take a fight off of that or cross off of that? Alright, I can't take this angle as a T or a CT. KCC, by the way. Okay, interesting. I'm a big fan of the opportunity to like platform around, so I don't mind this at all. Even though it's not really likely to be used. So this is like a side gunfight area. Like if I'm a CT and I'm coming in here with a rifle of some sort. I would want to come over here and then probably smoke either the left side off so that I could hold this in confidence. I don't know. Maybe I would want to jump down here and then like see where they're at. Like if I peek this and I don't see anything, I might want to immediately start strafing out and stutter stepping to see if they've pushed through towards the site. And then if they plant, do I run up through here or do I go back through spawn? I think I go back through spawn for safety's sake. Yeah, I'd say there's probably too much shit on this map in general. Like, too much junk. Can you surf over here? Doesn't look like it. Maybe a little bit. I can't surf, so I'm not the right guy to answer that question, but... Okay. I don't know how many spawns there are in this map, but T's should be able to cross over completely to either direction that they want to, from what I'm seeing timing-wise. CTs, on the other hand, they've got to contend with that mid-peak if they want to cross over. But they don't actually have to, that's the other thing, right? They don't actually have to cross over, they can wait till they hear a plant and then they can just toss a Molotov. Like, actually, my strat on this map would probably be buy, like, pistol round, buy an incendiary, and just sit here. Like, not, obviously not with it out, I would have my pistol out, but I would have my pistol out watching mid, the mid angle, the little boost or whatever, maybe something like this. So a little bit more forward. And I would have my teammate come down here, and he would either watch over here or over here. I mean, this area is not really that relevant, so I'd probably just have him be like defensively holding over here, and then when I hear a plant, I would go from this to this, and there you go. I mean, like maybe an HE would be better because you soften them up and then your buddy peeks them, like you throw that. I don't know. Because the Molotov won't stop them from planting, but it will start to damage them. And so maybe he buys an HE and throws it in after. But yeah, that's something that I would do. I'd probably do like incendiary flashbang. And he could do like armor and nothing else. And then I can bait for him after I throw my utility or something. I feel like that would be really hard to... Like, you would have to essentially bait out the utility with a fake plant. Or try to push them instead of... Like, the counter to that is if you know they're doing that, then... Like, that's why I would have my pistol out in this position. You'd want to push them. It's like, I might even want to do something like this, like elevate myself as an off angle. Or maybe even do what I was doing earlier and get boosted onto this van and hold this off angle. I mean, then I'm dead if I don't get the kill, right? But I could do something like this and then drop after the first kill. I don't know. It does feel like CTs have a lot of decision making that they can get access to. And the other thing is, like, I'm pretty sure I could just get boosted. I mean, obviously it'd be available to mid pick, but I could probably just get boosted up here as well. The T's have so much to clear out and so much to worry about if they haven't spotted any CTs by the time they get onto the bomb site. So I do feel like maybe it's a little bit too busy, even though I really like the verticality aspect of it, and I really like the fact that there's something different going on here, and it's obviously a bit more utility focused. It's pretty cool, but that is a concern, right? The fact that there's so many potential tricks that the CTs can pull. I guess as a T, right? If you're worried about an upstairs angle, like the one good thing is that you can clear out the potential lower angles relatively independent. Like you can do this, and I guess if he's like sitting here or something, you might get fucked. But even then, I think you would be jiggling enough that he would start shooting or something, and then you could do from there. You could like clear out some of the common angles that were on the site. Get into this position and then clear out some more, and then maybe like obviously like you'd be clearing out up here as well, and then if you were really paranoid about it, you could throw some sort of Molotov to clear out the upper part, which would clear out. It wouldn't clear that specific one. Wouldn't clear out the guy if he was all the way pushed over there, but you would see him at that point. So. Yeah, maybe my assumption that the CT angles and gimmicks that they have on this map would be too powerful is actually not correct. I would need to test it out a bit more to verify, but feels pretty feels pretty hard for the T's to do anything about that, if the CTs are conservative enough. And I'm not sure that that would be particularly exciting either for either the players or the map creators. But that being said, yeah, the map clearly has a lot of shit going on in it. I do think that it would be a bit, it would be easier for players to grasp if there was less clutter, and maybe if some spots were a bit less claustrophobic. That being said, it is a wingman map. It's meant for 2v2. They leaned into that here. Maybe we'll see something out of that. But yeah. Interested in seeing where this one goes, that's for sure. If there's any updates to this one. Up next, we got Artemis by Wiskey.
It is time now, my brothers. Terrorists win. We must move.
Hey, it's Iquar again. Check him out. All right, I don't know what happened to the map overview here, but that grid is gonna cause me some eye strain. We also have what appeared to be blue shadows, or at least on these stairs. I don't know what's going on there. So some graphical issues. Okay. I should mention I don't really know most of the people who have worked on the maps that we've looked at today. I don't recognize any of the names, so if some of them are brand new to the scene or whatever, that's also cool. So Artemis by Wiskey. First thing that I'll say is both of the options that you give the T's coming out seem to be long corridors. This one gets broken up over here, and then what the hell? Okay, so then I can. All right, we got some verticality over here. It looks like I can drop to one of two levels, and then this is CT spawn. I'm wondering what the significance of this is. Oh boy. Alright, so this is how you get back up here. And then either you're looking over in this angle or you're looking towards the site, which is this oval around the statue, presumably of Artemis. Nice bit of natural cover, I suppose, that can shield you from any incoming spots. Solid from a conceptual standpoint, but I'm not sure about... Well, that was embarrassing. Okay, never mind. You just can't do that, I guess. So what about here? Why oranges? Or nectarines, or whatever those are. Alright, let's go back over here. So that we just explored everything that the left passage has for us. This right passage, another long corridor, will take us directly to the bomb site. Gotta watch out for lower. Lower can only be accessed by two spots that both seem to favor CT timings. Either positionally or in terms of angles. That being said, the CTs can also make it over here. It feels like maybe the map isn't actually finished, judging by the terrain and stuff. But... Okay, so far I would say that this corridor isn't as bad as I initially expected it to be, because you have this bit of elevation alongside it. That being said, you can't really leverage the... I guess you could, in theory, leverage the height elevation over here for some of the angle. But this looks like almost certainly you want to be flashing through. And hoping that that hits people. Or maybe smoking off the top somehow? No, that was a little too low. Yeah, good luck trying to find a line up there. Maybe something more from spawn would do. Skybox might stop me from doing it. No, I guess that would do it, in theory. Okay, so you find a smoke. Oh man, that's too far to the left. Fucking rooftop. Surely there's something that's easy enough to do here. I think that one will do it. Okay, or not, I suck. Anyway, you'd find a smoke to land over here. Then you could pretty safely come up. I'm assuming that this thing over here is just here so that you can jump in over in this area, which is fine. Can you do? You can't do it just from the car, so. What I do like is that the player has a decent amount of freedom so far, once they're into a position that has interactive elements, but not sure on the amount of empty space. Sort of like Canyon. Feels like there's some areas that just didn't end up getting populated with that much stuff. The lower area seems very visually busy and not very intuitive as far as, like, especially if I'm coming at it from this ladder. I don't know immediately where to go. I guess coming into it from here, there's only one obvious position, right? Maybe some lighting would help with that as well. So you come out here into CT. I do like that there's this bit of verticality. I can't see anything through there, so I'm wondering if shadows... I can't see my own shadows, so... pretty hard to see. I'm not actually sure how wall bangable this ends up being. Should be pretty good though. What is this for? I guess for a boost. Yeah, this is for a one-man boost. Onto to peek over here, which is fine. It doesn't even look like you necessarily... Okay. Actually, if you stand on the taller one, you should be able to jump spot. Again, I'm not really sure what the point of this is. At least not... I don't really understand what the point of leaving it open is. It's not like you can walk out over here. Like, if you could actually walk out on this side or something, that would be a pretty interesting piece of cover that still acts as a pathway. But as it stands, I have no idea. So this looks like it was designed to be used by CTs? Because you can only crouch jump onto this angle? Whereas this one you can't? Oh, sort of can? Hold on. No, not really. I don't know what I did the first time. But not exactly what we're looking for anyway. I would say this map reminds me of definitely a bit of canyon in a couple of places where it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot going on in some areas. Paradoxically, that lower area really is very visually busy. This area over here, I mean, the fact that there's so many long corridors with not really all that breaking them up does, I think, hurt the map in my opinion, but the other component to this is there is that verticality that you obviously want to maintain. I wonder if maybe bringing in all of this whole backside where the T-spawn is, bringing it in some units, essentially like condensing this long corridor by a couple of bricks, a couple of blocks or whatever. I don't know what the units are in CS. But heavily condensing it so that you're almost like just cutting down on that and bringing everything in line with it, compacting the map in that sense. I think that would lead to a better experience. Maybe there's a timing concern there, but I think you've given the players enough things to go around otherwise. So I don't think there's really that much to worry about, because there's enough other positions that you can take, in my opinion. As far as this bomb site, I'm not sure why you don't just make it so that I can plant anywhere. Maybe this is a post-plant concern. Like anywhere on this higher area seems fine, but maybe because if I could plant over here, I could hold from over here, and that would seem overpowered, but I'm pretty sure I can still hold over here, so doesn't seem that much of a concern. TBH. I guess you could hold as a CT from this angle, and then over here, and this is like a pretty powerful one, because if they ever jump up here, you can get them, right? Although, can they jump up here? I don't think they can jump up here from this angle, so they would have to come through here and then do it that way. Okay. In CS, we use units as units of measurement. Okay, cool. Glad to... Very useful. So what is it like? What's the conversion rate from unit to pixel? Or are they the same? It's like 1 pixel, 32 unit, or 32 pixels per unit or something. These are just wild guesses. Again, I don't actually know, but I would say that this whole area definitely needs something more. Interaction. Something. Feels very plain. I do like the verticality. Like, this map obviously tries to be pretty robust in that aspect, where there's a lot of different things that you can do. It just feels like maybe it wasn't finished. That's the vibe I'm getting, even if this seems satisfactory to the developer, and they feel like they are finished. This is sort of what the feeling that I'm getting. I'm also not really sure about this. This whole area feels like maybe thematically, maybe it does fit in, but like the bar and the wine cellar area or whatever, it feels very strange and out of place, and I don't know how to fix that really. So, oh, okay. The player model is 72 units tall. Gotcha. Yeah, I heard something about doorways being abnormally large in CS, and we're just used to it because it allows us to like hop around and all that stuff, and it would feel clunky otherwise. Like this doorway here is a good example. It would feel really bad if I was, you know, bashing my head off of the top every time I was trying to jump, because CS players are hyperactive monkey bunnies. As it should be. Oh yeah, this is my favorite thing in the world, when I get stuck moving slowly. That could probably be tweaked. What are triggers used for exactly? Trigger volumes. Oh. Reasonable. Why did he make an airplane? That's an interesting one, man. I feel like maybe we should be able to actually get into some of these buildings, and that would add to the choices that we can make. It feels weird that there's only one building interior, pretty much, and it's just this little storage room for nectarines or whatever. But yeah, overall, I don't have that much to say on the map. It definitely feels like it could use a little more time in the oven. And that's that. I've got to find the name of this map, because I cannot find it. Actually, how do you find out a map name, a file name? I'm looking for the file name of Reverie by StarkGaryen. Is it just called Wingman? Because I have Wingman, Wingman 15, or sorry, I have Wingman, DE Wingman, and DE Wingman 15. And it's anybody's fucking guess as to what those ones are, so. It's apparently, I can get its ID, maybe that will help. Yeah, it is just called Wingman. Pranked! Well, there you go, we figured it out. So this is Reverie by StarkGaryen.
Go, go, go! Now is the time.
We have the classic Inferno backdrop, it appears, and the very conveniently shaped bushes. We've got a man, statue of a man. Let's go see what the CTs are up to. Oh, okay. Don't go that area. I don't know about having a kill volume in the middle of the fucking map. What the hell? Sure, it's a surf ramp, but... And it's a really easy one, too, because I'm doing it, and I suck at this, so... Don't kill the player, though. That's ridiculous. I would say those kinds of things are probably best reserved for, There we go. I did it. I mean, the problem is that if I can do it, and I've opened a surf map exactly one time, you know it's going to be used every single round, basically. So, I don't know if that makes any sense exactly. I don't think it should be used as like a key contact point for T's and CTs, you know what I mean? I think I'm fine with having more mechanical stuff going on, right? Like expecting more from people's mechanics. And or rather, not necessarily expecting more, but allowing for tricks to be done and advantages to be gained via movement. I'm fine with that. The curious part is, like, really, that doesn't seem like there's any counterplay to it unless you just shoot the guy as he's coming across, right? I don't actually know how accurate you are while surfing. I assume not very. Yeah, not very. Somebody would probably SMG to somebody else to death, though. That's pretty fun, though. I mean, look at these giant-ass crates. Holy moly. I don't know about those. I mean, I get that they allow you to cut the site mostly in half with just 2 smokes and then plant on one side or the other, but that's pretty crazy stuff, man. Alright, so if you're not going to take the surfing way, you come out here, you walk into this area. I'm not sure at what point you would be ready for a fight, probably around the bomb site itself. Can't close that door. Can't steal that painting. Another Inferno prop XD. Yeah, it definitely feels a bit sparse. Definitely feels weird. I don't know if that's bangable. Looks like it is. Okay. So as a CT, I come out here. I probably want to jump across. And then shift walk while holding this angle. How would they get over here? They could come out underneath me, but I would hear them. They might be able to hear me. What's up, Pullman? Appreciate you coming on by. I think we're doing pretty well. Some of these maps have I've had a little bit less to say on them, so. I actually don't know how many maps we are in right now. Yeah, I've already done... This is my 7th map so far, and it's only been an hour and a half. Contrast that to the maps that we talked about a lot. I think we did 6 in 2.5 hours. So, this is Reverie by StarkGaryen. Do you like this? If you fall, you die, as I found out earlier, which is why I'm now playing as a bot. No, I actually think that we just had more to say on those maps. I spent a good amount of time on a couple of maps so far. It's just that some of these maps have been, like, we sort of just lucked out in this particular selection, where so far the maps have been really simple. What's up, Roald? Yeah, I was just talking about how I don't know about the surf part here, because, like, I'm very bad at surfing, but if even I can do it, I imagine that would be tried pretty much all the time. And since it's so close between the spawns, it's pretty much unavoidable, you know? Right now we're just looking at Reverie by StarkGaryen, and I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it. Listen, you can't tell me that you're worse at surfing, dude. Don't you remember all the different jumps you hit? You're at least better at jumping than me, which is pretty epic. So I don't want to hear it. If you guys missed the last VOD where Pullman and I looked at a bunch of maps, I was like, I wonder if you can make this jump at least 3 or 4 different times, and I was like failing at it multiple times in front of him, and then he just did it the first try. So I'm not gonna say that's a case where I loosened it, you know, where you loosen the pickle jar and this guy walks up and pulls it off easily, but just saying. So there's a couple of different spots on this map, actually. So you come in here. Nice seam. Wait, what? Olaf Boost 2.0. Alright, so you come in here. You see some men. I'm wondering where the CTs would actually want to hold from. Like, maybe you would actually just want to hold a defensive angle from, like, over here. Or maybe over here. The problem is that if you drop down, you can't actually do anything. There's this long-ass rotation over here. I actually, like, the other thing that this surf experiment does, you absolutely know if nobody takes it in the early stages, because they're worried about it getting sniped across or whatever, somebody's going to eventually. Like, bomb has been planted and the CT just surfs around for a flanker. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know that's going to happen. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a little weird. Oh no. It's the most dreaded t-shirt. Oh shit. Don't look at that. What's in here? Oh, okay, I can throw grenades. Sure, there's some epic lineups. See? I know a smoke, guys. They'll never snipe us now. Alright, well. You can cut this bomb site in half, pretty much. You could probably just do some very simple running lineup like this. Okay, maybe not so simple. Instead, I smoked myself off twice. That's pretty impressive. But you could probably do something like that. I don't know, man. It feels really weird to see a map with this giant-ass L that you can plant around. And the surf thing. It feels weird. It feels like... I don't know, man. That's weird. Feels like there should be some other pathway in here, maybe? Or maybe it's fine because you can take this fight and then drop down if nobody comes down. I don't know. This map also leaves me with that feeling of something's missing. With the feeling like... we're missing some info. We're missing some... something or another. Some cover. Oh, you're not allowed to jump either? Oh, no, I think that's just draw distance. See if I can do this reliably here. Check that out. Source water. Yeah, that should be a meme that we start, since I just keep blaming everything on source. Every water-based thing. Well, I really am stumped by this map, honestly. I don't know about post plants. I think a lot of it seems pretty simple, but I'm not sure about the... Yeah, I'm not really sure about stuff. But you can't plant on this, which is probably fine. But honestly, a CT could just sit here, too. And, like, this could probably be, like, the opening fight, and then he can drop down and hold this. I don't know. It seems weird. Because maybe even if the surf is successful, you come out here, what can you really do if they're already on... If both CTs are on the site? Like, I guess you can flank them, obviously, but it takes a long time, so... Alright, so... We'll just have to come back to this one, I think. Or... Maybe not come back to it, but... What I'm saying is I have to dwell on this one, because I really don't know what's missing here, or what needs to be tweaked. But something feels weird. I like the interconnectivity on the middle area and for the left flank onto the site, but once you plant, I don't really know what you do, because there's not really that much cover outside of the L, and you've probably used utility to get onto the site. So... Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, so far I'm looking at all of the Wingman contest maps. Most of the time I have not looked at them up until this point. So this is like the first time I'm seeing pretty much all of them. I've seen a couple of them, but I think this has been, for the most part, first time viewing. So. All right, I need to take a quick BRB before doing some more, but I will be doing some more. So this is my epic BRB screen. I hope you appreciate it. I just didn't set it up before this, so... There you go. Now you know I'm BRBing. All right. I have returned. So we know we've done... I should probably merge this real quick and then write in stream number 2 in the document. Okay. So yeah, if you're Roald, if you're still around and you want me to take a look at that map now, I do not mind doing that. Let me see if I can find it. All right, let's take a look. Well, that's fine. I'll I respect that.
Terrorists win.
What's up, Mr. Potato? All right. One thing that I'm interested in is how the mappers of hostage rescue maps actually try to resolve the balance, the inherent balance issues with hostage as a game mode. So, oh shit, Mr. Potato, dude, your days are numbered. Better watch out. Might be eaten. Okay, what else do we have going on here? I'm going to take a quick run through the map here. It looks like it's got a very defined theme, architecturally speaking. So do you blame Source for this too, or what happened here? I heard a bird. Okay, so it looks like we've got two options when we spawn in as T's. We can go left or right, so I'll go left first. There's... Somebody can maybe correct me, but I was watching FM Pone's streams when he was doing level design reviews a while back, and he said something about like how there's a natural instinct to go left. Is that true? Is that a real thing? Because I haven't bothered like looking at it, so I don't know for sure. If we go left, we get met with another two-parter. Wait, what is this? Oh, is there another hostage zone? Oh, okay. What's up, Vaya? Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was left or right. I shouldn't say that I'm putting words in his mouth either, brother. I could have misremembered what he said. So, all I remember is that there was some natural instinct to go one direction over the other, and I don't remember which one it was. So I should make that clear as well. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I would have been kind of surprised if it was like a global 100% of the time you could rely on this thing. But if it's not reliable, then it must not be that useful for map making. In terms of like trying to come up with something to... Wait, does that actually open from the other side? Poggers. So maybe not the most reliable feedback is what you're saying. Okay. We've seen quite a bit of maps or doors that open one way and not the other around here. Whoa. Okay, hostage numero uno. Looks like there's only one hostage but 2 rescue zones. So that's how this map has approached resolving the balance of, or lack of balance of the hostage game mode. We've got 1 hostage, 2 rescue zones. Can't blow up a plant. Some terrorist I am. Bomb has been planted. Look up from CT spawn. All I see are some jagged fog planes. I'm not sure if that was broken in an update or something. I do like the general imposing nature of the fog when it's working correctly. But... oh, lack of time, okay. Yeah, I imagine stuff like that can be finicky. Yeah, for me, I just get taken out of it by the fact that it's all, like, clearly there's some issues with it bleeding in or something. But the thematic or whatever is certainly something worth chasing. Because you get into a situation where, like, it's very clearly communicated that... Oh, this is interesting. I'll just get stopped by random bricks. You're clearly communicating that the player can't go into that area, that's not really gameplay space, but it has that imposing sense of, like, scale and certainly a thematical difference, or thematic difference that will help set this map apart from its other, from its counterparts, shall we say. Got some Z fighting over here. I always like it when I find Z fighting that can only be reproduced by a camera. Now, as a layman in 3D terms, I don't actually know what could possibly result in Z fighting that only activates when you're moving the camera. I don't understand why that's more common than perpetual Z fighting. I'm sure there's a valid reason for it, but it's always something that is slightly humorous to me. So I guess you could, like, jump spot over here. I'm kind of lost in the architecture, so let me try to figure out this layout again. So this map feels a little large for wingmen, but you're not really meant to... I get the sense that this area where the CTs are is not necessarily meant to be perpetual gameplay space, as in once you walk through it, it's unlikely you're going to walk back over through it again. You know what I mean? Like, odds are you're probably not going to be going back down this really long stretch, for example, right? Like this long corridor that has you going up all of these different height elevations is really just to get you in position to play the rest of the map. And so I wonder if maybe it's mostly a timing thing. Yeah, setup. Like, so you walk over here for the purpose of trying to set yourself up. Some weird collision over here. Oh yeah, I didn't even actually say who made this map. So it's Roald and Jakuza, or maybe it's Yakuza. I don't actually know how you say that guy's name. But that's 2/3 of the team that brought you Anubis. You'll be hearing more from them real soon. Wink. Okay, so we have like an approach spot that this isn't anywhere gameplay space, right? Okay. So we have an approach like we were just discussing. Does the hostage reliably spawn in the same position every time? Because in such a situation, I imagine it would be useful to know. Did Yenzel do some art for this map? I didn't see his name in the credits, so maybe he did some props or something. Okay, can't you step on there? So as an approaching CT, this opens from the other side, okay. I still need to figure out where the actual path to that area would be. To the PogChamp door. What else do we got here anyway? So we come out here. Hostage is in this house. So under normal circumstances, CTs are going to want to fight presumably over here. And maybe over here as well. So again, T's come in here. Any plans when I'll stream next? My phone is not here. Maybe Friday. I'm doing some more podcast stuff then, so I don't know for sure, but we might get into a nice schedule of every other day until we're done here. What's up, Veeker?
I see the man.
Oh, shit! Veek sees the man. Check him out. I like when it says that. All one of their friends. Yeah, of course. We'll figure out I think it'll be around the same time as the last two, so hopefully it works out timing-wise. Thanks for stopping in, dude. So like I was saying when I was starting this sort of analysis off, one of the things I want to look at when all of these maps that have hostage rescue stuff is how they try to improve the game mode. Because unlike Diffuse or Demolition or whatever you want to call that, it is incumbent upon a mapper to try to control for the inherent imbalances of the game mode. You kind of have to do that in Diffuse as well. It's just that it is generally considered more balanced compared to this, right? And compared to Hostage Rescue. And maybe it's more so that it's been figured out a bit more. Right. So we've seen a couple of different approaches for how to potentially solve the issues posed by this game mode. With Orion, we had CT, T-Spawn, Hostage, and Hostage Rescue Zone all in completely separate areas of the map. In this, we have 2 Hostage Rescue Zones and 1 hostage. Orion also only had 1 hostage. So that adds a layer of predictability. There's no chance for a random position. And as a CT, I can grab the hostage, especially with a kit like Roald says in the chat, and immediately start evacuating up here. And then I can open this door, which can only be opened... Well, I guess as soon as it's opened, it becomes open forever. Openable forever. But it can only be opened from that side. And so, as a T, I have to watch it, but I can't actually interact with it. I'm not sure how I feel about that per se, because it does feel like a bit gimmicky. But it's not like Ts can't interact with it. It's just that CTs have a positional advantage should they get to the hostage position. But because there's multiple angles for the CT to move towards once he has the hostage, phase 1 of this map would be getting the hostage or denying the hostage from being taken. Phase 2 would be denying the hostage rescue. And depending on the speed, you end up with a scenario where Ts might elect to give up the hostage rescue if they're on a low buy, or if they don't have a good rotation or something, or if they go down a man early. They'll concede that, and then they'll try to stop the actual rescuing. So then it almost becomes like phase 2 of the gameplay involves you as a CT deciding where you want to move towards. You can also jump down here and then walk over in this area if you want to, which takes you very, very close to this hostage rescue zone. Now, obviously, you move a little bit slower with a hostage, but because you have that freedom, Ts have to respect that. Now, they could, in theory, position themselves with 1 over here to watch your approach. I'm not sure if there's any gameplay space that would result in you getting gatted. You would be able to see them fly out of this window, though, and then take a position or maybe even drop down or something, if you wanted to. And you might be able to do that without even giving an audio cue away necessarily. I'm not sure. And then if you don't see that... So wait, what all can you do from this position? You can also just fall back to where you were before, and then make your way to essentially through mid to either hostage rescue zone, or go the long way. Instead of taking the door that is the one-way door, you could go the long way all the way back towards the T-spawn hostage rescue zone. So I like that you have a couple of different options, right? You have, in essence, you have like 4 different options. You can go fast to the right hostage rescue zone. You can go fast to the T-spawn left hostage rescue zone through the one-way door. Or you can fall back and take a position towards mid, which lets you go either way, or towards the T long that will take you towards the T rescue zone. And that gives you a solid number of choices, basically, that you can pick from as CT. And none of them are so powerful that the T's can't react to it, basically. I think the closest one that you have to that is probably jumping out here in this window and then running down underneath this canopy and maybe taking a fight over here or something like that. That's probably this is probably the quickest rotation once you get the hostage. But you also said with a kit, so I wonder if this map has been tested with that timing in mind, that if you don't have a kit, and as a CT, you know, you are a bit of a slave to the timing, to the setup area of the map, as we talked about before. And as a CT, you run out here. Oh, actually, that's an interesting layer as well, right? When you're trying to jump out here for a fast take, you could get offed from this position. This could be a pick right here, which is probably why this is painted white, so that it's easier for visibility to see an enemy. So you would take an aim duel over there, right? Because the T's can jump over into this area when they spawn and either hold for a mid cross or hold here. Okay. I'm starting to see what the actual map layout would be in terms of the early gunfights, right? Because once you cede control of this, either you take a pick or you flash them off of this angle, right? Like, I don't actually know how you would do that. You might have to flash them off from outside. Because the other thing is you can just walk lower and ignore that fight entirely. I think this might be a longer rotation, though. So starting at 4350, we'll walk to the window there from a presumed CT spawn point. So I'm here at you know, after 6-7 seconds, and if we jump back down here, we do it at 4335, and we try to go the longer route. I think roughly the same time. I'm here like 6-7 seconds, maybe 8 seconds. I was at around this, like turning the corner over here. So it is a couple seconds longer to get to this position, but it's much safer. And crucially, I don't think there's any sound cue you can possibly give away to anybody who's holding this far back anyway. So even full running, I think you're safe. Trying to break down the hostage game mode in general would take quite a bit of time. And to answer Veek's question, I think the main problem is that a lot of the hostage maps in the early stages of the game, including the ones made by Valve, treat it as if, like, they follow a lot of the diffuse map standards with, like, defensive positions, and essentially it would be like changing the game rules in a diffuse map. Like, if you just changed the bomb sites to hostage spawns and the CT spawn to a rescue zone in addition to CT spawn, and called it a day. Well, I guess you'd have to flip the team. So CTs would spawn where Ts spawn, and Ts would spawn where CTs spawn. And the new CT spawn that used to be T spawn would be the hostage rescue zone. Like, that feels more like what Valve did and what a lot of other mappers did. Where they basically, like, they may as well have made a diffuse map. But, like, so they didn't consider as many of the actual changes that could be done or should have been done in order for a hostage map. So I don't think that the hostage map or the hostage game mode is intrinsically flawed and can't be salvaged. I think the problem is that the maps never tried to explore what the actual metagame of a hostage game mode would look like if the... Like, basically, it was a case of people assuming it was bad because the maps didn't actually try to balance anything, you know what I mean? What's up, Balethal? You think this map is pretty well designed. Sans the one-way door seems like a bit of a gimmick to me. Yeah, I was saying that earlier. I feel like it's not like only CTs can interact with it, but odds are you're not going to be getting access to it from the T's side. And also, I don't know that it would give you that much of an advantage anyway. But hold on, we got some comments from Roald. The thought behind this map is allowing CT to get the hostage and have the second player clear out one of the two paths to the hostage rescue zone, or pick one route together. And for T's, there are a few options to cover both paths from one position. Each route has different lengths in sightlines and different weapon usage. Like in mid, you get classic early op peak, where they get equal timings. It is crazy how the advantage moved from CTs to Ts, but not the weapons or economy with it. Yes, so his last point there is essentially one of the main underpinnings for criticism towards the hostage rescue mode. In that a lot of the defensive advantage and the timing advantage was given over to Ts, but their economy is such that they don't actually have to, like, Ts have to put more on the line in diffuse maps because they have to take map control. If you give them cheaper guns and easier access to gameplay space, you subtract the risk that in order to get map control. If you just allow them to get map control by default because they're the defensive team. That was one of the main reasons why Valve's maps felt imbalanced and why the early CS maps, the early hostage rescue maps felt imbalanced. At least in CSGO. I haven't played the ones in other CS games, so I don't know for sure. I think maybe if that one-way door was a little bit more easily accessible from both teams and could also be leveraged in more positions, it might be a bit more interesting to have it be one-way. Because right now it does feel like it's CT way and not one-way, if that makes any sense. Because of the position of Ts to CTs. But that being said, in order to reshape the map to do that, I think you might add even more complexity to a map that already feels rather spacious, large, etc. Without necessarily accounting... It might jeopardize the fact that this is meant to be a smaller scale map, right? So it does seem like a bit of a gimmick to facilitate a faster route towards the T-spawn side. And I'm not sure what you would do to maintain the balance of that decision without reshaping a large portion of the map. So I don't know what low-hanging fruit option there is to, like, what simple, easy-to-do change there is to improve the gimmick nature of it while also maintaining everything that you have, like all of the strengths that it essentially imparts, right? You don't want Ts to camp that ladder and just like them rushing the hostage safely like they could before and flank CTs way too easily. Right. So the concern is that you can use this to either camp the ladder or, as you were just alluding to, you can use this to, in theory, safely, without any angles, rush the hostage. So you might be able to open up areas, lines of sight, to that lower position from maybe like CT left over here. I'm not actually sure where that actually goes. Yeah. So you would probably have to add more interconnected underground areas or something from a CT angle if you wanted to have that door be opened from either side, and then have a couple of lines of sight underneath here that the CTs could interact with to stop the Ts from rushing to the hostage safely. So that, once again, the Ts are forced to try to take map control if they want to do that. But like I was saying, then you have got a bigger map in terms of surface area, in terms of playable space, and a map that's more complex than it was previously. You know what I mean? So that's where, like, I can see an obvious counter argument to it. And yeah, I think for wingmen specifically, it's got a bit of complexity with some widened paths. And like, I'm honestly wondering if this is even really... I don't know how much you would have to change for this to be a full-on wingman map. It doesn't seem like it would need that much, you know what I mean? It feels like it's pretty, spacious. Like, maybe if you were to go that route of trying to improve upon the layout from an objective sense, it would just gravitate it towards 5v5 hostage, which is obviously something that is interesting to conceptualize and interesting to think about. But considering it was meant to be a wingman map, I understand why the... I see what the value is of that decision, but yeah, I don't actually know. I do feel like any sort of reimagination at this point would essentially be reinventing a portion of the map. You know what I mean? As opposed to what other, like, keeping what it already is. So I guess I'll ask the same question that Vi asked. Like, are you do you have interest with Jakuza to finish working on this one, to continuing to work on it and tweak it? I see. I think there's a lot of cool ideas in the map. And I really appreciate another person, another group of people in this case, trying to reimagine this game mode. Because something that I always felt CS is lacking, I always feel CS is lacking, quality alternative game modes to diffuse. CS has some of the best tactical shooter gunplay. I think probably the best tactical shooter in terms of gunplay. Like I'm thinking other tactical shooters would be like COD or Battlefield or something. And I guess now Valorant or whatever. So I think CS has the best gunplay out of all that. Like, I still think that the Quake and Doom model is more exciting for me because it's like more individuals, like solo carry, and more about movement and actual mechanical skill, mixed with, when you have a good map, mixed with strategic or tactical depth. But as far as like a team-based tac shooter, I think CS is like by far and away the best. But if you don't like always playing diffuse maps, then you are shit out of luck because there are no really good game modes. It feels like, anyway. Like, from the onset, there's not really a whole lot of support for it. Like, Hostage, most people would conceptualize it as almost a joke because of the blatant imbalance in the maps that we have. And so people who are pushing the envelope like this, where they're trying new things for that sort of thing, my hat is off to you. I mean, I don't wear a hat anyway, but if I did, it would be off to you because, like I'm saying, I think we as a community of especially people who aren't playing competitively but still want, like playing the actual competitive ladder, but still want to play and have some fun in different modes. So I guess you could conceptualize that as a casual community, but just in general, like the player base wants more things. I mean, that's why everybody keeps asking for operations and stuff. They want more things to do in CS other than play Diffusal. So yeah, I definitely think it certainly has a lot of potential. I think right now it's probably a very solid map from a gameplay perspective. I think a lot of consideration went into it. You could see a lot of thought was put into the decisions. So, yeah, good on you guys, and hopefully it works out. Yeah, I have not played that much Call of Duty, so I can't definitively say yes or no, but from my personal experience, I would say CS is the best tac shooter in that respect. It just has some of the best mechanics. I think 1.6, 1.3, some of those older versions had even better mechanics because spraying wasn't gutted, and b-hopping wasn't as gutted. But even with all of that, all of those compromises made, CS is still up there, man. So yeah, thanks for sending it over. Glad we were able to take a look at it.
Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It looks like there's a lot of spawn points here.
We lost the bomb. Let us go.
Well, you already get points for not slowing me down in the water. That's pretty cool. All right. This is Torrid by Cubbls. We're going to check them out. I already see an early peek, it looks like. Early angle that we might be able to take. Okay, so CT spawn is over here. And they've got a cheeky little window that they can see out of. I wonder if it's not too weird. It doesn't seem like you can actually get onto a good position to shoot somebody. They would have to come to you, basically. The angles are such that it kind of blocks your line of sight. Alright. Keep running around. I do like areas of maps that are like this, where it's almost like one large structure, but there's a couple of different ways around it, basically, so... I guess this might not actually be a complete example of what I'm talking about, but the fact that you can kind of go around that rock a couple of different ways is cool. It adds a little bit of positional gameplay, and it's sort of like, I think the call-out is useless on cache. I think that's what the call-out is. I think that something like that, you know, people call it useless or whatever, but there's actually some pretty cool plays that you can do over there. I can't scale the cliff face over there, but we do have a ramp up. And the bomb site is just this platform over here. We can almost make that jump if we're good. Curiously enough, when you come up that ladder, there's a couple of different things that you can do. It's a bit ugly, but works, I think. So as a T, I guess you would probably want to... You come out of spawn... Probably send one up here. Take a fight over here. Maybe smoke that off. And try to isolate any pushing on this right side. And then you could send another T down in this area. And he can hopefully get into position over here. And then he can get like flashed in. You know? So something like... So you could be like this. And then you're on the site. You can plant over here, because you've already cleared most of this. The concern would be that some of them, somebody could be like, a CT could be doing a cheeky little lurk over here. And again, the smoke would have blocked his vision in some way, but... Well, that's a little bit too far the other way. But so his vision would be blocked by that, but for that angle. But he could hold this, or more likely he would just be holding this, a passive angle over here. And then his buddy would be holding over here, maybe? I feel like that could probably work, because then the guy who's holding this angle can just switch back to mid. This is really awkward to jump around, though, I should say. It's not like the ramp area, or whatever, like the more natural ramp is over here. And even then, that's pretty blocky. And then you can get, like, caught on this. So yeah, that feels pretty awkward, but... Presumably not too difficult to fix. Yeah, I don't actually mind the way that this is shaping up so far. It has that, like, aim map quality to it, where there's a lot of different angles that you can take. But I still think that you could get somebody drop a flashbang. Not that one. And you could probably swing out on that, right? Something like that. Then as you're creeping up over here, you could be aiming higher and higher and higher. As you learn the map anyway. Honestly, I don't even know if there's much to criticize here. Definitively. Like, I don't see any decision that I would never make or never want to see. I think this is probably a map that could easily be solved through utility and positioning. But at least I think that there are enough decisions for, like, wrapping around as a CT to threaten over here because the rotation time is pretty small. So you could shift walk down this angle while they're executing onto the site and be around in a pretty powerful position once the bomb plant goes down and for a retake, basically. I think that would be pretty easy to do, so... Yeah, I don't actually think that even an execute-heavy team, heavy duo, I don't think they would be able to establish complete site domination such that it would not be possible to respond. Whereas there were a couple of other maps so far that we've seen that feel a lot less negotiable in that respect. It feels like a utility just dominates them a lot easier. Okay, we can't jump on that, it looks like. So... Seems like a solid map. There's not a whole lot of verticality to it. There's not a whole lot of, I guess, like, thematic... like the theme of it being on the beach or whatever is kind of neat. Giant water tower that you're bombing. At least then you know that there's something that you are actually supposed to be bombing as a T and defending as a CT. Can sort of see the SWAT van over there, although I guess they came over through the ladder. Yeah, sure. Yeah, visuals are a little rough, but angles are pretty good, I think. Besides the CT one over here, like it's sort of in a clunky way, forcing you to like hold further back so that you can take gunfights. Or from a really weird angle. Like I don't know if anybody would actually want to fight against that. I think they'd probably just deploy a flashbang, you know? And then try to get them flashed off. But I don't even know if that would work, actually. Yeah, you'd have to throw it higher, I think. Right? I guess if I'm standing up, I'll get full flashed. But I would never be standing up in that position because of the angle. So I actually don't know what you would do there. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of an incentive. Oops. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of an incentive to go on this left side from as a terrorist. Oops. Surely there's some lineup that doesn't expose me to that angle. Yeah, that seems to be the only way I'm ever going to be able to use my CT, or my utility, unfortunately. I don't appear to be capable of throwing it otherwise, so... Okay, maybe over here? Not quite. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be like a really easy way to do it. Oh, there you go. We figured it out. That should pretty much clear him out no matter what, I think. So if you can get over here... The lineup is a little rough. As you can see, I'm having a hard time replicating it. That's impressive. Okay, so it's a little flimsy. But aside from finding a lineup to eliminate that position, I don't think that there would be any reason for me to ever go this way. Maybe I would hold it for an aggressive push, but I wouldn't want to actually go there myself. Just because of the fact that there's... Like, that's a very powerful and difficult to pre-aim spot, you know? Especially since they could leverage that and just mind game you and position somewhere else entirely. Like, you might think they're going to be up there, but then they're actually just over here, like, pushed up. And they just swing on you. So, I don't know, man. Especially if you're making noise and you're pre-aiming. Or you're pre-firing, rather. That seems a little rough. But otherwise, I think it's a solid map. I'm not sure what would be, what would need to be done to make it, like, good, upper echelon of maps. Because I don't feel like it's there yet. But there's some interesting gunfights that could be done. I just feel like maybe some cleanup is in order, some visual update is in order. Certainly a good mapping exercise for trying to get a map, like, get your grip on map making or whatever. I don't know how frequent the guy who made this, what is his name? Cubbls. I don't know how frequently he does his stuff, so. You wish the bomb site was bigger? Yeah, I'm not sure why it's a half circle, because you'd think it would stretch out to all the way over here to bomb the supports of the water tower. And I guess I didn't really talk about post plants so far, but you could post plant here and then go all the way back to T-spawn. They're pretty open, though. I don't know. I feel like there aren't really that many post-plant angles that you can take, huh? Now that I think about it. I guess you could post-plant over here, and then either bang them through that wall, or get into an elevated position, bang them through this wall. So... I don't know about that one. Yeah, 2021 Mutiny hits different, exactly. Well, there you go. We have what I assume will be another aquatic-themed map coming up. Yeah, well, that's fucking unfortunate, isn't it? Call it something aquatic and sea life oriented, and it's a train station. Okay. This is T-spawn. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we have to walk a long way before we even make a decision. It's probably for timing's sake, but you know what this actually reminds me of? This design decision to have the timing sort of, what would you even call it? This is like a gimmick or a band-aid for fixing timing. This mistake happens to even some of the most experienced mappers. Because if you look at the latest version of Engage, the same thing has happened there, where they just force you to slowly crawl through a crouch-only vent space, and that's how they fix the vent timing for the B-bomb site. So it can happen to anybody, really. You just got to be watchful of that. Like, if you're forcing players to do some actions just so that you can improve timing, instead of actually fixing the core problem, then you're just making the player, you know, sort of waste their time, and that's how you're making sure that the timings are intact. That's like from a design perspective, I think it's very clearly not the way to go, personally. So that's obviously, like, the example I gave is a very different conversation, but here I think something similar has already happened, and it's especially bad if you play this map from a T-side perspective first, and this is your opening action for the first, like, 5 seconds of the round every single time is running down over here. You know what I mean? Like, surely there's got to be some way to do this better. I guess in a similar way, you could probably levy that sort of critique at Paro, but when we're talking about a defuse instead of a hostage rescue, it's even less explicable because we know how to develop well-paced defuse maps. We've done that 100 times now, so as a community, obviously. All right, so this is the bomb site. We got a very long line of sight over here, sort of broken up every now and then. This kind of reminds me of the B-bomb site of Thrill. Probably just because of colors, though. So I guess you would definitely want to smoke stuff like this off. That's a pretty easy lineup, and then you isolate most angles. What is this? Concrete, by the way. Oh, we got that echo filter from Half-Life. You better watch out, dude. So this is CT spawn. Pretty rare that you have this wide of a map. This wide of like a breathing room or whatever in a wingman map. This feels like it was designed for almost like 5v5 or whatever. Well, that was just an assumption. I actually don't know if, like, where would you go to line up the other one? Yeah, so now you can just threaten like this. So that's a two-man exec. Very easy, I feel like. I don't know what else you might be able to do. Yeah, you get the huge sightline afterwards for an after plant. The problem is you can be spammed super easily. Since there's no actual cover for you to plant behind. Like the closest you have is over here. You can get covered by these a little bit. So I think you might actually want to throw this deeper. With like a run throw. I don't even know if that was a run throw. How deep is that? That is much deeper, okay. So you might want to actually do it that way. And then... Oh, that wasn't the lineup. What did I do before for the lineup there? Oh, I guess I aimed too high that last time. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. So then we would aim above here. So you throw those nades, right? And then you've isolated all the back line. And like you were saying with a Molotov, since you can now approach this without fear of reprisal from there, you can just do this. Oh, can they be upper? That could be big. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so this is how you would counter that then. That's not even something I thought of. I don't know how you would do a Molotov for that. You might have to be closer. And would the smoke extinguish it? Because sometimes smokes are really finicky. Yeah, okay. So you'd have to throw it real deep, and even then... I mean, you could just spam this, though. I don't think it would actually matter. I think you throw this smoke, right? I think you throw this exec. And then you just come out here, and you just... spam this while your buddy plants. You know what I mean? So, like, while this guy's planting, the other guy's spamming this area right here. And anybody who's in that area is probably dead immediately. Though at the same time, I don't know. You are right that there's, like, that throws a wrinkle into it, right? But this isolates so much, just those two smokes, right? And then... If you wanna throw the other one a little bit more shallow, then you don't even have to worry about this right side as much. But anyway, that does mean that you give up a lot of map control. I'm just not sure if there's much of a justification for this whole middle area over here. I like how they all call it middle, even though it's like right. It's not really middle, but that's okay. Flank. So the flank to spawn or whatever. That's a very finicky lineup. Don't let my first beginner's luck fool you. I feel like maybe if this opened up into here, I mean, I guess that would add a lot of complexity, but that would also counter the line of sight advantage that both teams have. So ops are not like super dominant. So like I hold this. I wish I could save more than one smoke to be recently thrown. To be rethrown, rather, but... So I've got to redo the smokes. But... So these smokes come up. Now I have to do this if I want any information at all. And then I can just get spammed, right? Oh, but I can also do this. Which is actually pretty hard to see over those smokes. Especially that last one. Like if I'm coming out here, I'm not necessarily expecting somebody to be behind there because the smoke actually obscures this back area. So it's not immediately something I'm drawn to. I feel like if this vending, according to the callout, if this connector here gave you another route into this bomb site corridor, that would probably resolve a lot of issues. But then it's also like even less reason to come over here, I guess. Well, no, I guess it would be even more reason to come over here as a T. Because you can exit through there or through here on the site itself. I mean, that's another crazy fucking thing. Hold on. I didn't even think about that. So if I come through here upper, right? Oh, can I not go over there? Oh, that's weird. I was gonna use that for a lineup, but that's fine. That's not exactly where I wanted that to go. Alright, well, fuck you, game. Trying to throw it above, but... Actually... This is like nuke all over again. Wait, what does that do? Just casually smokes that out. That's not even... That's less powerful than it looks. No, that's not what we need. I need a smoke that lands here. If you get that smoke down, you like 100% can just throw a flashbang and then run past it while the smoke is there, and you're in here. And the reason why this is so important is that then your buddy can throw that deep smoke that we were talking about earlier. This one. While you're coming out, and you just plant. I mean, obviously, they could come peek you from here. So maybe... you might want to do this. But that's still really powerful. It looks like there's even a little spot over here where you can throw flashbangs. Maybe? Yeah. That tells me that I could do something like that. Dude, imagine somebody lining that up for you as you're coming out to plant. And they're like pretty much anywhere. Well, I guess that doesn't blind them if they're over here. Or there. Yeah, they have to be looking at it, but... Still feels like utility is king on this map, but I'm not sure. I am a little bit biased towards maps that are like that anyway, so maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. Oh, that's a shit smoke. Don't ever throw that one. There you go. In you are. See ya. I like the fact that it's accessible from both areas, but I do feel like maybe it's a little bit too limited, that you can only access the back of the site through this mid flank. But it does mean that CTs hold a distinct advantage if you haven't gotten mid control. So... I do like that aspect of it. Alright, Roald, thanks for hanging out, man. See you later on. So yeah, I think this map actually has a pretty nice layout overall. Utility's pretty solid. You can get some pretty good advantages and then plant. But it's not the end of the world. If you do, post-plant opportunities are pretty high. I still feel like the long corridor approach to the bomb site could be done better if there was a bit of an access way from the actual platform, site platform over here, maybe. Like, even if it was just like a single door that leads you in here. I think that would be something. Because think then that CTs have the opportunity to be a bit more flexible with how they threaten onto the site. It does mean that they don't have to wrap all of the way around over here while the bomb is ticking down in order to flank from long. But I think it adds more value to anybody who's positioned over here or behind here. I don't know. Maybe it would add too much complexity. That's just a gut reaction. So I also don't really see a reason why you wouldn't want to have this area playable. Seems like I should, you know, it's fine for me to jump over here, personally. But maybe this was taken out because it was an annoying lurk spot to isolate. In which case, I think I would just move the cover over to the left or something to reduce confusion, because as somebody who just assumed I could jump over here, it was really weird when I couldn't. So that would that's something that I think just with a slight visual update, it's fine. Should be fine. This, on the other hand, the suggestion that I had for that door over there, a little bit more contentious. I actually think it's fine, though. I think this is a map that has a nice balance of utility versus aim potential. So, pretty cool in that respect. All right. I think that'll actually do it for our stream today. We went for almost 3 hours here looking at maps. We covered how many? Let's see. This was our 10th map. That's a good number to end on, I think. At least for today. We still have plenty more to go. And there might be some maps that are not currently on this list that get added later on anyway. Depending on who pops in here. So, yeah. Remember, that was Oyster by solwllms. No idea how to say that guy's name. But cool map. And glad I got a chance to look at it. So, of course, thanks for hanging out. And I'll catch you guys on the next one, whenever that ends up being. See if I can get a nice headshot ace here. No mouse movement allowed, but come on. There we go. All right. See you guys.